Hello, everyone. I have lots of energy today, so I'm really excited for today's episode and today's guest. But for those of you who haven't tuned in, this is the Humans of Tech short form series podcast on LinkedIn. You can watch it and then now listen on Spotify. So just going over the quick rules, we only record once, we don't edit, and we pick one question randomly out of a fishbowl that our guest has no idea what we're choosing. So to introduce today's guest, Rebecca Blair is the Senior Manager of the Security Operations Center at Toast. And for those of you who don't know Toast, yes, you do. Anytime you check out at a restaurant and you tap to pay, that's Toast. That's the POS system that Rebecca works at. And so we're excited for her to come on today. And yeah, Caroline.
I will add in there, we were talking about this before we click record. I promise anybody who's listening now, if you didn't know what Toast was before, like I did, when I was introduced to the idea that Rebecca was going to be on here, I've now, all I see is Toast everywhere that I go. And then the other thing I'll say is, thank goodness Kelly has the energy today, because my energy is not as high as hers. So we're gonna yin and yang it right now.
Oh, I love it. Well, we also, something awesome, really, really special about Rebecca is she is an author. She wrote a book last year, and I'm gonna have her tell you all in a second a little bit about the book. But yeah, I purchased it on Amazon, and I think it's really great for people that are just starting out, and then also for people that are more seasoned. So I will kind of let Rebecca, you say a little bit about what inspired you to write the book, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So for the book specifically, I in general just like knowledge sharing whenever possible. I like giving back when it comes to like mentoring and things like that. And then we've also, especially working in SOC environments, we've always been asked to do more with less. So I wanted to think about how can I share my knowledge of building up multiple different international SOCs now, to how do I streamline operations? And then I thought of the MITRE ATT&CK framework, which is a giant tool and resource that's used within security. And there's so many different techniques and tactics that it can be a little overwhelming to look at. So then I wanted to kind of dive deeper into it, into the different frameworks there, pick out ones that are actionable that you can really look into, and ones that you can't. And then how do you create detections that are going to drive actions within your environment that can hit on different techniques and different tactics?
I love it. Yeah. And
I was gonna say, it seems like this book is more, you can read through it once, but it's something that you reference over and over and over.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So specifically in there, I bring up, different ways of organizing your SOC environment, different detections that I've actively used, both within that have been successful and ones that really haven't been, and talk about the tuning process, different runbook options. So a lot of resources that can be used and just with a couple of tweaks can be applied within their own environment.
And for those that are listening, would this be applicable to anyone that's in the SOC, or is this large organizations, smaller organizations, medium size? What are you thinking?
Yeah, it should be applicable to just about anybody. So specifically with the environments that I've worked in, there have been plenty where I've been literally the first person in the SOC hired to now being a 6,000 person company, and so protecting larger organizations. And so the idea is that, there might be some tuning depending on what your organization is, but it should be applicable to all sizes.
Okay.
A handbook for all. I love it. And we'll drop the link also in the episode post. So
handbook, right. I'm a fan. All right, so let's do this. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
We need to start refilling these questions. Okay. What career advice would you give your younger self?
I think there's a couple different pieces of career advice. I think the first is not to pigeonhole myself in like one thing specifically within security. I don't think I realized how large the security field was. And when I first started off, I kind of thought like I had to be in SOC, but then there's compliance, there's pen testing, there's vulnerability management, incident response, more specific, forensics. And it's so large, and it's something that also continues to expand. I feel like every single year there's different roles within it. So getting more general experience And then the other kind of advice that I think I wish I took a little bit earlier on is, especially as a female, like shooting your shot within your field. There's plenty of studies around, if a woman looks at a job description and they don't hit the vast majority of things, that they're not even going to try for it. And there have been a few cases now where I've gone and kind of shot my shot and it's worked out. And I'm like, why didn't I do this earlier? I mean, this year alone is actually a fun kind of example of, I put in for a couple different conferences. Eventually I was like, I'm not going to get all of them. And then all of them said yes. And then now I had the fun of trying to write speeches for every single one. But just being able to like actually put yourself out there, I think really helped me build up my career.
I had this conversation with my sister earlier this week. She's not in tech, but she's applying for a job that she thinks is too big for her. And the advice was something similar. Like, how do you know? Sometimes you just learn when you're there. Go for it. Daughter did something similar today too. I'm not ready. She was saying, I'm not ready. I'm like, just you get ready when you're there.
Yeah.
Did you start off in cyber? Was that kind of how your entryway into technology?
Yeah, for the most part. So I was one of like the early on degree programs in computer security. Specifically, I chose it over computer science because I didn't want to take calculus. And so I was like, there's less math, I'll go down this path. And then it just worked out.
I love that. Kelly, do you want to add anything there?
No, I was just gonna say I did the same thing and I still had to take calculus. So it was like I tried to avoid, but I still had to take it. But no, I really think that what you said, Rebecca, about just making sure that like you're shooting your shot, you're taking a chance, you're not afraid, because the only way you grow is if you're going to take those leaps of faith, and it's not comfortable. It's
Yeah.
Do you have people around you maybe that help push you, or is this all coming internally from you? Do you say, you know what,
No, I definitely have people who push me for sure. I mean, I get imposter syndrome like everybody else. And so I know when the book came out and any conference talks or things like that, I'll get super nervous and say like, what makes me want to do this? And I definitely, my wife is probably my biggest cheerleader of being like, no, like you've done all this, you've earned this, and things like that. So it's really important to also like build up a community around yourself that's helping empower you.
build those
curate your cheerleaders. And I was recently at a conference and they said, build your personal board of directors. Like you don't need to have a mentor in cyber. If you have your wife, you have your significant other, you have your, like, you have this personal, like family can be part of your personal board of directors. Like I absolutely love that. And it sounds like you did that to get where you are today. Or
yeah, absolutely. Between that and then just also trying to be comfortable being uncomfortable, because those are going to be the areas that you're going to grow the most.
Love that. Well, it was lovely having you on here.
Yes.
We learned quite a bit. Be uncomfortable. We hear that a lot. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Having your personal cheerleaders, that was my own wording though, but you know what I mean. And shoot your shot. I love that. Shoot your shot. Well, thank you.
Check it out. Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah, thanks for having me.